everybody. We're just letting everybody in. We're getting good to go. Welcome to tonight's Interview the Boss session. Cool. We'll just welcome some more people in. I'm Emma Davis from veterinarycareers.com.au. I'll be one of your hosts tonight. And I'll do some formal introductions in a minute. So I'll just give everyone a few more minutes to log in. Tonight's being recorded, so just you would have clicked OK for that. Just keep in mind that chat and comments and everything's being recorded, so make sure that you're comfortable with that. It will be available online later as well, usually to a veterinary audience and veterinary nurses, but it is public, so that's fine. Yeah, we'll get started very shortly. We'll get everyone who's not being interviewed to stay on mute. And I can't remember what else I was supposed to tell them. Ali, this is Ali. Ali's my other brain here. Hi, Ali. Ali's my support.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Do some intros in a minute, but welcome to tonight. Oh, what was I going to say? Questions can go into the chat bar. If you've got questions for later on, we'll be doing questions at the end of the night, and yeah, so pop questions in the chat and we'll pick them up, and we'll won't usually interrupt the flow of the discussion. We'll do them at the end, and we'll have some opportunity for Q&A at the end, and anything that doesn't get a chance to be answered tonight, we'll do our best to follow up and get some answers for you back out on the email, and also in the Veterinary Careers Facebook group, which is you can find called Veterinary Career Conversations, Moving Our Profession Forward. So that's where we will be able to put things back in. You'll find the recording back in there. Cool, so it's 8 o'clock. We'll just give people one more minute and then we'll kick off. Very good. Ali, you won't be as freezing up where you are as me. You're in lockdown though, hey?
Yes.
So we've got people all over the world dialing in, actually. Another thing we can do in the chat bar is just to type in where you're from and what role that you've got in the veterinary profession at the minute. I know there's some, I just saw a vet tech who's at Wagga, nearly finishing her course in Wagga, who's interested in maybe coming across to Canberra at the end of the year and seeking to be part of the team. So maybe just pop in the chat where people are from and the role or what they're doing or what they'd like to be doing in the profession, and we can get to see who's in the room. That'll be fantastic. And just a reminder, so it's being taped, and so just make sure that you're comfortable with what you pop into the chat. All questions can go in the chat, and we'll kick off. I'm just better have some water. Okay, welcome to tonight. I'm Emma Davis. I'm a veterinarian. I'm a veterinary career coach and a veterinary business coach. And I am one of the founding members of the website veterinarycareers.com.au. And we have a mission to have vets love their veterinary career. And hi, Jackson. How are you? Oh, awesome. Hi, Karina. Welcome. So, yeah, the vision of veterinarycareers.com.au is to highlight all the amazing opportunities in our profession and all the different kinds of roles we can do, and really to bring our profession forward and really highlight amazing cultures in veterinary practice and the good work that vets do. So that's me. I'm a 2001 grad from Sydney University, and yeah, had some fun doing some online business lately. And so my co-host tonight is Ali McKenzie. Hi, Ali. So Ali is a final year vet student at the UQ, University of Queensland. She works as a vet nurse on the weekends with an interest in small animal internal medicine, wildlife conservation, and emergency and critical care. So welcome, Ali. And I'd like to introduce our guest tonight. I'm just going to close that chat so you guys have got the co-host in there. Darcy's in the background. She's a first year vet student at University of Queensland as well, and she's our trusty tech person in the background, so she can do the admitting of people as we go. And I can't see him, but I'm going to. Oh, there, I can see you, Jacob. Jacob, I'd like to introduce Dr. Jacob Mickelson. Jacob is a small animal specialist surgeon who graduated from Sydney University in 1990 and worked in mixed practice for 2 years before buying his own practice in southwest Sydney with his wife and fellow vet. These practices grew to become a group of practices, and after 15 years, they sold them, and you guys moved over to Denmark for 2 years, which sounds amazing. I'd love to hear more about that. And then did a surgical residency at CSU, Charles Sturt University at Wagga Wagga, came up and enticed him back to Australia in 2008. Jacob passed his board exams in 2013 and moved to Canberra in 2014, where he is now, and he's taken up the surgical specialty position. So welcome, Jacob. That's amazing.
Hi, thanks.
And Candice, where's Candice on my screen? Dr. Candice Evans is the Emergency Clinical Director at the Animal Referral Hospital Canberra. And Candice grew up on a small hobby farm in Queensland. And after originally starting an engineering degree, which we should hear some more about, what was that about? She made the move into vet science and graduated with honours from the University of Queensland at the end of 2016. So after graduating, Candice moved down to Canberra and spent 2 years in general practice. And then she joined the emergency team at Animal Referral Hospital Canberra. And Candice hasn't looked back since. She's obtained a grad certificate in small animal emergency and critical care through the University of Melbourne and is currently studying for her memberships in emergency and critical care. So welcome, Candice.
Thank you.
So a little bit about what Interview the Boss is. So Interview the Boss is an opportunity to get to know some of the bosses of these organisations, and it's been such an honour working with these guys over the last month to learn more about their vision for Animal Referral Hospital in Canberra. And so I just welcome you guys, everybody, into the room for our interview. It's going to run tonight. That we'll have interview till about 1:30, and then some time for questions and answers at the end. So if you've got any questions, just pop them in the chat. And thanks for those who are saying where people are from. I'll get Ali to tell me where some people are from in a minute. But yeah, if you've got questions, pop them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end of the session. Awesome. Where are people from, Ali?
Well, we actually have some very interesting people joining. We have Jackson from Brisbane, as you saw before. We have actually Karina joining as well from ARH Canberra, which is very exciting. And we have a Dr. Sahid from Pakistan, who's been working in the dairy farming sector for the past 8 years, and that's great. Yeah.
Excellent.
Hopefully we get some more people saying, yeah, it's great. We have a great audience.
That's great. It's really, really good. So we might open up our questions. So Jacob, I've got a beautiful question for you to kick us off. So Jacob, can you please tell us about the Animal Referral Hospital model and around Canberra and the relationship that business has with other veterinary practices, please?
Yeah, sure. So look, there's, I guess there's two answers to that. One is the relationship we have as a support facility for the local general practitioners. And when we say local, we actually mean everybody really from the Victorian border north to probably Ulladulla, and then west at Albury, Wagga, Griffith, and even as far up as probably Bathurst and around that area.
So that's a lot of kilometres for people that are not in Australia. It might be dialing in from the UK. It's massive, isn't it? It's literally this big.
We had a gentleman who came yesterday with his guide dog. He travelled 9.5 kilometres on 9.5 hours, I should say, on public transport to come and see us. So it's a big catchment area, I guess you could say, and a really interesting range of people and animals as well. But our primary role really is helping other practitioners during the day, and in the evening we've got our emergency facility running, where local people who can come with their animals out of hours for if they have acute problems of some sort. So, and sometimes that's something as silly as swallowing a sock, or right through to being hit by a car or something more serious. So that's essentially the relationship we have. The other thing we do, of course, is we're part of a larger group of specialist hospitals, which includes practices in Melbourne and Brisbane and Sydney and Adelaide. I'm not sure about Perth, but anyway, there's a whole group of different specialist practices, and we draw off each other's strengths and skills as well. So I'll occasionally go to Adelaide and do something there, or the guys in Sydney might come down and do something with us. So there's a lot of interchange there as well, which is quite useful.
Really good network of specialists by the sounds of it. Like you're
Yeah.
really supporting each other. Yeah, wow. That's a bit special. When I was in practice, I didn't have this after hours clinic, so I'm quite fascinated by this. I went back to practice last year, and I got to refer cases at night for the care, and so that's a big part of what you do, Candice, is that emergency after hours. Is that right?
Yeah, we get a lot of, I guess, the clinics around here don't really have to do after hours themselves, because they can, I guess, hospitalise their patients and then they send them across for the emergency department to look after overnight. So you might have something as simple as a post-operative patient, or you can have the more critical ones, like your tick patients or SNEC patients that aren't going so well, that need monitoring overnight. And then, we either send them back to their normal vet in the morning if they're stable enough to go back into their care, or some of them do need to be referred across to the specialist team, which we do as well.
Yeah, right. And so you guys are working in conjunction, so the emergency team and then the specialist team,
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And in
So
our new facility, I was going to say, in our new facility, we'll be running emergency during the day as well.
okay, cool. And so do they need to get referred to you, or can they come direct to you? Like, do all the cases come through other vets, or can people just come in as well? At the minute, it's a bit different under COVID, isn't it?
Everything's referral during the day, and out of hours, it's just turn up or make a phone call and come, so yeah.
And so tell us more about the Canberra scenario then, because there's an amazing set of veterinary clinics in Canberra, and it's so good to have this specialist referral ability. So what's the vision that you guys have got for this Centre of Veterinary Excellence?
All right, well, that's a good question. Right now, we're in a fairly small building that we've well and truly outgrown. And for the last few years, we've been aiming to try and get into a bigger facility, and we finally got it all started and built and almost finished. So we should be moving in another 3 or 4 weeks. And that's up around, I think, 1,000 to 1,100 square metres, something like that. Lots of consult rooms, lots of theatres, MRI machines, CT machines, basically everything that you could possibly want, really. And the plan really is to just improve the quality of service to the local community and, of course, people outside of our area. And then to be able to provide a much more rounded service. So with the more increased space, we're now able to get more specialists as well. So we're talking to an oncologist at the moment, but we've also got other people who will come and join us, I hope, so that we can start getting a more complete package. At the moment, it's medicine and surgery, but we'd really love to be able to offer a lot more than that. So it's just a matter of finding the people, and that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, so which specialists are you needing at the minute? So I understand you're looking for a couple of specialists, and even maybe from overseas as well. So
Absolutely.
what are the gaps you've got at the minute? Like
at the moment, we're looking for emergency and critical care specialists. They're fairly high on our priority list. Some more medicine specialists would be great. We've got 1 specialist and 2 residents, and they've got 3 times more work than they can manage. So if we can get a few more of those, that'd be terrific. But also ophthalmology and oncology and radiology, or advanced diagnostic imaging, all those sorts of things would be really, really great to have. And I just feel like if we had a wider range of people, then we could obviously offer more service and hopefully become a more complete facility. So there really isn't a reason to go to Sydney anymore, because you have everything you need in Canberra. And that's what we'd like to offer. But let's see how
that's how I believe Canberra should be, because that's how I love Canberra. So that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. I would actually love to hear a little bit more about the facility, if you don't mind. You mentioned you'll have a lot of consult rooms, a lot of theatre rooms and everything, but what exactly is there, and what's your favourite parts about it?
Okay, no, fair enough. We've spent an awfully long time planning and developing it. So part of the problem with the whole thing is it took a little longer than we had anticipated by a few years. The flip side of that, though, is we got to spend a very long time thinking about it. So at the end of the day, we've got a nice big waiting room, of course, 9 consultation rooms, grieving room, and flat where students can stay when they're on rotation with us.
That is great.
Yeah, offices and things like that, of course. An ICU, a big treatment area, patient recovery areas, of course, all the dog wards and cat wards and things like that. There's 3 clean theatres and 1 dirty theatre, endoscopy, ultrasound room. We've got a high field MRI, 64 slice CT, isolation, basically everything you could really want. So we really should be able, and we just bought a C-arm too, so we should be able to offer all sorts of minimally invasive stuff and vascular stenting and all that sort of thing. That means there's no reason to go anywhere else, hopefully.
Yeah, wow. As an almost new grad, that just sounds like a dream, like an absolute dream to have all of that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's a bit of a nightmare getting it set up, but hopefully the dream
It's a big job. Yeah. Oh, good on you.
That's awesome.
What's your favourite part, Candice? What do you love? What are you most excited about?
It's going to be nice having extra space, just extra room to do things. But looking forward to, I guess, just having that opportunity now to have all that extra equipment to do the extra diagnostics and having those extra specialists to bounce ideas off and everything. I'm really looking forward to having the extra people and the extra equipment to learn more stuff and be able to diagnose and do some more things.
Oh, that sounds great. So what's living in Canberra like, Candice? Do you like it? You sent through some photos of hiking and stuff. So is it good? Like, are you going to miss Sydney if no one goes up to Sydney for the vet stuff, or is Canberra okay? Like, tell me about Canberra.
I came from Queensland, moved down to Canberra, but I love it here. Like, if you're an outdoor, especially if you're an outdoors person, there's so many hiking tracks, there's mountains to climb, there's beautiful lakes through the city to walk around. Like, every little suburb in Canberra seems to have a little lake associated with it. And then the beach is like 2 hours down the road. The snow's 2 hours down the road. You've got amazing little restaurants and coffee shops. It's a good place.
Yeah, I thought it was. I never appreciated Canberra. I grew up there, here, and now I'm down the road. But when I came back after 15 years of, study and everything, I came back and went, this is so easy. This city has got everything and it's just so easy. There's no traffic.
Yeah. No, there's not. You got a traffic at all. I've been to Sydney once, and I've driven in Sydney once and only once. I don't think I'll do that again, but Canberra's good.
Yeah. What about you, Jacob? How do you like? What drew you to Canberra?
Well, the work for starters, but also the schools. There's great schools for kids here. So my kids were just at an age where they had to go to high school, and so they did that, and that was really good. The cycling, because there's bike paths absolutely everywhere. Mountain biking scene is great too, which I'm into as well. And of course, all the outdoor stuff, if that's what you like. I also like my food and wine, so that's a good thing as well. Do a bit of, a little bit too much eating and drinking, but that's okay. That's what the cycling's for. And that's really what I guess Canberra's about, and the people too. It's a relatively friendly place. It's people are busy, but it's very cosmopolitan. There's a lot of overseas people here. So I'm from Denmark originally. We have a small Danish community. We get together occasionally, but there's lots of others too. There's German community, and there's the Greeks and everybody. So everybody has their own little group as part of the whole thing, and it's just it's a nice cosmopolitan city to live in.
Yeah, I was going to French classes. I loved it. Just pop in and get immersed in French speaking. It was really great.
That does sound so great. As we're still talking about, you came to Canberra for work, but could you give us a few more of the steps that you took in your career path that led you to Canberra and specifically ARH? Yeah.
So I guess it started as a general practitioner, and I did that for a lot of years. I liked the surgery component of it. I did a little bit of referral surgery at the time. It wasn't very much. I probably wasn't that good at it, but it was things that we had some equipment that other people didn't, and I was willing to try things, and it went okay. Then when we finally got a bit sick of running general practices, we moved overseas for a while. And that was fun too. I really enjoyed that. But then I got to the point where I thought, well, I can either keep being a GP forever, or I can start to specialise. And I was probably a little old compared to a lot of people doing their specialty training, but went off and got a job at CSU with a wonderful surgeon called Bruce Christie, who's retired now. And then, did my training there and travelled around the world training at different facilities, which was marvellous. And then finally passed my exams in 2013, which was really good too. So it was really just a progress of, I don't know, just identifying something I really wanted to do and then being lucky enough to have the opportunity to do it. And it's one of those things that I think if you want to do it and you have a passion for it, then yeah, it's worth following, because I've certainly enjoyed the road, if you know what I mean. And I've also enjoyed the work since. It's a little more varied, a bit more challenging. And I feel like I'm able to do a much better job than I used to be able to do. And for me, that's the great reward. It's when I do stuff, I feel like I'm doing as good as I can do, and maybe as good as anybody can do sometimes.
Yeah, awesome. What about yourself, Candice?
So when I finished, I did some placement in my final year in Canberra, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I ended up moving down here. I wasn't 100% certain whether I was going to stick with actually being a vet or if I was going to go into government work. And you know, even as when I was thinking about being a vet, I was always had an interest in emergency medicine, but everyone had always told me, regardless of whether I went into government or emergency, to always get your groundwork first and go into GP for those couple of years first. And that's what I did. I had an amazing first clinic. They're really supportive and I stuck with it. But yeah, I always had that bit of an interest in emergency. And yeah, after my 2 years, I'm one of those ones. I love a challenge. I love something different every day. And I just felt like I wasn't getting that from GP anymore. So I started out casually at AIH in emergency. And absolutely loved it. And yeah, I came across full time and have stuck with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, kept studying. Yeah, there's heaps more courses. So I just kept studying at the same time. So yeah.
What was that engineering thing about though, Candice? I'm fascinated by that engineering. What was that? That was like, what was the background in that? Oh,
yeah, I started that when I was always so I grew up on a farm. Always wanted to be. To be honest, when I first started out, I wanted to be a large animal vet, or I always had I love planes.
Yeah.
I started out doing a dual mechanical and aerospace engineering degree, but I have some vision problems in one of my eyes, and I was going to do it through the Defence Force, and I wasn't able to get into ADFA because of my vision. And I was a bit worried I wasn't going to get a job, and I was already tossing up between engineering and vet, and thought that I ended up just.
Glad we won you. I'm glad we won you over. That's good.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I think I made the right choice.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's amazing. And so, like, speaking with you, getting to know you as a leader recently, Candice, in this process, and we did a great article and stuff, and I really have a admiration of the vision you've got around the culture and the supportive team environment. How do you piece that together? What's been your journey around leading the team and creating a nice supportive culture?
I think at the moment, I just like to make sure that everyone feels like they've been listened to and understood. I think you have to take everyone, bring everyone on board, make everyone feel involved. And yeah, I just want everyone to feel supported. Like it's okay to come up and ask questions. They don't need to be scared of asking something or worried about not knowing something. It's part of it. And we all learn together. I'm still relatively new myself, and if I don't know something, we all learn together. But yeah, I think there's no, it's okay to ask questions and it's okay not to know. And I think, I think that everyone appreciates having that approach as well. But yeah, just making sure everyone's involved and feels like they're listened to, and yeah.
It's that beautiful mix of excellent practice, but supporting each other as well. Hey,
Yeah.
So you're turning out some amazing quality care. It's just great. So. But yeah, talking to Wiley was great too, and hearing about some of the experiences he's had as part of your team. And he's one of your residents, is that right, Jacob, as well? So yeah. So what's your leadership take on it, Jacob? How do you create that beautiful environment?
We try our hardest, I guess. I mean, we're not perfect, but we do the best we can. And I think Candice was exactly right. Listening to people, respecting everybody's opinion. Doesn't matter whether you're the nurse's aide who's coming to ask about something or making a suggestion, or whether it's one of the other specialists coming to make a suggestion. We're happy to listen to everybody. I should also say we have a terrific group of nurses. They're really skilled. They may mean that a lot of the routine stuff that you do in general practice, we just don't do. I can't even run the blood machines anymore because I haven't done it in years. They take care of all that. They do all the anaesthetics. They do, I can focus on my job and they do their job. And it's that trusting people to do their job well, listening to them, trying to help them as much as we can. Can't always get it right, but we do the best we can. And I guess that's what it is.
That's good. It sounds like you've really got good career paths in there for everyone, like the nursing staff and everyone.
Yeah. As much as we can. I mean, so we've got nurses who start at I won't say the bottom, but they start, and in some ways, some of the most important jobs, the nursing assistant jobs where, the cleaning and the looking after the instruments and all that sort of stuff. And then there are the hospital nurses, and there are theatre nurses, and there are medicine-based nurses. And when we get more specialists on, there'll be nurses trained for those specialties as well. So there's quite a lot of diversity there. And then there's also nurses who do organisation and training of other people, and ordering and HR stuff. And so there's a whole variety of jobs. And it's one of the good things about having a bigger practice is it's a little hard if you're in a smaller practice with a couple of vets and 3 nurses. There's not a lot of scope for anything there. But when you're up to, I don't know what we're up to now, probably 80 staff or something, then there's a lot more ability to follow a pathway or an interest.
Your turn, Ali. Have you got a question there?
I actually was just thinking about that, and everything that you're saying about the culture and you're helping everyone build their career pathways just really kind of resonates me as a final year student, kind of facing this big scary world. So just would you have any advice for kind of the younger you, if you look back, or younger vets starting out their career, to avoid things like burnout and stuff like that? Because it sounds like your culture is just so supportive and beautiful.
Well, I've probably made it sound better than it is. I mean, there are imperfections in every workplace, of course.
Tough workplace. It's a tough work. It's a tough, like our whole profession, isn't it? Like they're big jobs. Everyone's got big jobs.
Particularly since COVID's hit and the workloads have grown by as much as they have, it's meant that it's put pressure on everybody. And we do the best we can, but there is pressure, unfortunately, too. So it's not the somewhere we can sit around drinking coffee all day, because there's a lot of work to do. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think we provide a really great quality of care, and the rewards are there for that. I mean, seeing patients go home, seeing clients being so happy that you rescued somebody that nobody thought you could save, or whatever. That's where the reward is as well. What would I say to my earlier self? I guess I'm a bit of a workaholic. I probably would have said, slow down a bit, take some time for other things. But to younger vets these days, I think I'd say be careful to pick the right practice to work in. Don't work somewhere where you're not going to get support you need, because at the end of the day, you'll have a horrible experience, and most likely you'll end up not wanting to be a vet long term. And I've seen that so many times. So yeah, if somebody tells you, be a little careful of that practice or whatever, then listen to them, get some more advice, and just see what other people say, And if it's a thing that everybody's saying, that's not a great place for a new grad, then maybe think about working somewhere else. And that's probably the best advice I can give new grad people, is just pick the right job.
That is great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
What about you, Candice?
I'm 100% on the same boat as Jacob, is that just make sure you pick the right practice. But I guess have confidence in yourself. Like, you've got there, you've done the degree, you know the stuff. It's just going and doing it now. And you just need the right place to help you, support you through that process. And I guess it's just you have confidence in yourself. Things they probably will go wrong. And when that day happens, accept the fact that it's happened, learn from the mistake, and move on. Don't dwell on it, and focus on all the positive things and all the little achievements you do make. Makes a lot of difference.
It's really easy to remember all the bad stuff. And one bad experience in a day can ruin your day, and it's a pity, because you probably had a dozen good experiences. So I think Candice's advice, don't dwell on the negatives, learn from them if you need to, and don't stress too much about that.
That's awesome. That's really good. So I've just popped in the chat the contact person. So Michelle Gray is the contact person for people who are interested in the actual roles that are up. the Animal Referral Hospital Canberra at the minute. So please either pop your email in and we can contact you around that, and grab Michelle's email to email her direct as well for more information on the roles. And there's some roles up on the veterinarycareers.com.au website. So just, and I'm not sure how we're going for questions, but we're just about up to questions. So, it's been really good. Any last advice, guys, before we head over to questions? Anything? I'm really excited about having this down the road, although, I was talking to Jacob about how he saved my puppy years back, and I don't intend on going back to that place of needing Jacob to save my puppy, but I am excited that there is excellence down the road. Any final comments?
No, I don't know. Look, I think as a professional, we just need to support each other generally. It's a hard enough job without making it harder, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, be proud of who you are, be proud of what you do the best you can, and, love everybody else in the profession too.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great one. Cool. Okay, we've got some questions coming through. So I think Michelle's the person that can answer this question, which is the practicalities of employment at ARH. But a particular question that I had from a couple of students before the event was, what does continuing education look like if you become an Animal Referral Hospital staff member?
Yeah. I'll talk about the specialist side of things. If you're a specialist, there's a varying amount of continuing education. So generally a week off, paid, of course, and then somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000, depending on what you want to go to, or sometimes more. I mean, it just depends on the course or whatever that you're interested in. The interns and the residents, I think, have something similar, $1,000 to $2,000 or $3,000 a year as well, and the week. And I think the ED vets is something the same too, isn't it, Candice?
I think so. It depends what part of the. I think mine was about 1,500 something.
Yeah. That's what Michelle's putting in the chat there. There you go. 1,500 CE allowance, so that's good.
It varies a little bit too. So we do make exceptions. If there are particularly valuable things that come up, then we will happily pay a little bit more if it's going to be good for the business.
And a team of 80 people, like obviously across the vets and the support staff and the vet techs and everyone, do you do a bit of an analysis of what's needed in the team, like to get people out to the right CE courses and bring skills back?
So we have some requirements for staff to do CE as part of their employment contract. So the idea is not just to get a job and then sit around for the next 10 years and not do anything. But it's very much driven by people's interest. So there are some in-house courses that we run regularly, particularly the nursing staff need to go to, but also sometimes other things as well. So we do journal clubs every week for surgery and medicine, and we have mortality and morbidity rounds once a month, and there's lots of discussion on cases and things. So within the clinic, there's a lot of CE all the time. But if you're looking about external courses, then it's all online at the moment, but it has been trips off to courses for, I don't know, everything from external fixation to stent placement in, vena cavas and things. So, yeah.
Wow, that sounds excellent. I did have a direct message as well that I'm also really interested in hearing the answer of. It's a little bit biased again about new grads, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But are there any opportunities for younger vets to be joining the team that may not have those specialties yet?
Yeah, very much. So we run an internship program, which varies from 12 to sort of 16 to 18 months, depending on what you're doing. And we generally run at the moment, we're aiming for about 5 interns. So we're still recruiting at the moment for finding a couple more. And it's shared between medicine, surgery and emergency and any other specialties that will be coming up as well. And the plan there really is, well, what we do is quite a lot of training. It is a training position. So it's really about patient care, about working through cases, learning how to deal with things, what can be done, what can't. And hopefully by the time you finish your internship, at the end of it, you come out with a lot more confidence, a lot more medicine and surgical ability and knowledge. And then if you want to follow a residency pathway there, then you've ticked that box as a starting point. And you might decide that's not what you want to do. And that's good too. And even if that is the case, then at the end of the day, you still come out with a good knowledge base that you probably wouldn't have got as easily in general practice. And emergency in particular, I've got to say, is a terrific teaching resource. There's so many cases and so many interesting cases and so much that comes through that you can't help but learn a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And is that internship geared more towards new grads specifically, or people in the first 5 years out, or how would you describe it?
Generally, we'd say early career veterinarians. So the
Okay.
ones who are new grads would tend to do a rotating internship just because they get to see a number of different things that way. Whereas if you've been out 4 or 5 years and you're really interested in medicine and you're starting to focus on that, then you might just do a medicine internship or a surgical one. So yeah, that's the way it's working at the moment.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah, that's great that there's so many options that people can jump into the team with.
And some of them stay. I mean, a number of our interns have stayed and become residents, and some have got residencies overseas. So we've had a couple of people go overseas to learn, train up there. So yeah, there's lots of possibilities.
That's awesome.
What's it like about like bringing international people in? You guys, I know Michelle's been working with importing some vets, stealing some vets from the UK, I believe. Which
Let's
is
just say offering them more interesting opportunities.
Yes, to come to Australia. That's great. I'm all for that. What's that like? Yeah, how do the people get supported to do that?
Okay, so there's 2 ways that can work. One is if you're graduated from a university that's accredited, and then you can basically get registered in Australia. I'm not sure if there's some examinations. I don't think there are.
Have to do that, whatever that's United States.
NAVLEs, isn't it? Yeah.
NAVLE, yeah.
Yeah, I think once you've done that, then you can be registered, and that's that. Then there's also veterinarians who are from schools that aren't registered and recognised. Now, that's not necessarily a problem in the specialist space because they can work in inverted commas under supervision. So we have a number of specialists. We have one specialist at the moment here in Canberra who does that. He's a surgical specialist. He's very, very good. But then we've also got specialists like that in the universities through Australia and through other specialist practices across Australia. So that can be done too. It's a little harder, a little bit more paperwork, but yeah, it's doable.
Yeah, okay. So that's an option for people that are dialing in. I know we had some people from Ireland and Canada and New Zealand. I think a whole lot of Kiwis are going to come out. So that's it. Sorry about that, New Zealand.
I think the Kiwis are recognised, I think, as are some of the Canadians, and I'm not sure about the Irish. I think they are as well.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's right. We've got, but Michelle can answer all those questions as well, so she can help you navigate that. So I just pop Michelle's email up in the chat. So yeah, do reach out if you're interested, and she can help you with that. What about your team, Candice? Who are you looking for, and have you got any international people on your team? And ER's really evolved since I was in practice. So I was like mixed animal practice down the coast and, just making it up. So tell me about your team and who you're trying to attract.
I think we're just trying to attract anyone with an interest in emergency at the moment. Like ideally there'd be some experience there, just because we're short at the moment. We want to provide new graduates with as much support as we can. But yeah, ideally we'd have someone who does have a little bit of experience behind them. And then, it doesn't matter if you haven't worked emergency before. That's something where, I hadn't either before I started working here. We can, train you up for that. And yeah, I overseas, I think we're looking at getting some across from the UK at the moment, hopefully. So UK vets are definitely welcome to come on board. And same thing, if you don't know about snakes or ticks and stuff, like happy to teach you about it.
Tick paralysis ticks, that's our little local beauty. These ticks that can take down even small, large animals like foals, they can paralyse.
Yeah.
The south coast of Australia specialty.
Yeah. But essentially we just want, I guess I'd be more than happy if someone joining the team who's just willing to rock up and have a go and willing to learn.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. And they've got support. Okay, that's great. Any other questions through, Ali?
Just on that, are there any sort of specific attributes that you are looking in people that would really, like, they would stand out to you as perfect for the role?
I guess someone with, I guess, that has the confidence, who's going to It's emergency. It can be, you're dealing with things coming in that can be dying in front of you. Someone who's okay with that and is going to do well under pressure and under that stress. And just someone who's I guess able to manage that kind of situation. And just a good team player. Like, we've got an amazing team. We all need to be there for each other. Those kind of more personal qualities would be beneficial, definitely.
Yeah.
And have you got do you have a team on at night? What's the team structure at night?
Yeah, so we're hoping we will be going 24 hours in the new building. Currently, I guess for the next month until we move, we operate from 6 at night until 8 o'clock in the morning. So we'll have a consulting vet up until about midnight. If we're lucky, we'll have someone around till like 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning. And we'll have a vet who oversees the hospital overnight. So we'll take care of anything that's been admitted through the afternoon, any day team patients that are there. And that vet does the overnight shift. But it's not all overnight shifts. There's lots of evening shifts. On a weekend, we're 24 hours. So there's day shifts as well. They can range in length from 4 to 10 hours.
Yeah, awesome. We do just get a question in the chat for you, Candice, from Holly Boyden. After hours emergency shifts are intimidating to many vets. How does your team directly support someone starting out with after hours shifts?
Well, I think with that one, I'd be making all efforts. Have someone, not by yourself. You've always got someone there with you to bounce ideas off. It's one of those ones where we can be very accommodating to the time. So the overnights are not for everyone, especially if you've got families, and especially if you're returning to work or something too. You don't want to be doing a huge 10-hour stressful shift. So we can have you with someone else on a shift length. It can be a little short 6-hour shift or something like that, that just goes until even 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, so you're not up all night and ruining your sleep pattern. Just little things like that can make a huge difference. So it's not so intimidating and you don't get out of your comfort zone too much.
And if you've got good nurses there, is there experienced nurses? I guess they're a good.
No, the nurses are amazing. And that's what I noticed the most when I transitioned from GP is the nurses. I think that some of the nurses I have on my team know more than some vets I do know. The nurses have a huge level of knowledge. They can do many things, and I think that's probably what a lot of people coming across would probably find the most useful is, and I found when I came across to emergency from general practice, I was in this situation where I'm like, I don't know 100% what I'm doing, but the nurses are just they're doing it all for you. They know exactly what to do and they guide you through it.
Yeah, having awesome experienced nurses is such a good team. Such a nice supportive team to be able to bounce ideas off and just give those patients the best care.
I think I got to day 2 of overnight and my brain had just shut off. So it's great to hear how supportive everyone is.
Holly said that sounds really supportive and flexible, so that's great. Awesome, this is great. Okay, well, thanks so much. Are there any other questions or comments you guys would like to make in wrapping up? So this has been Interview the Boss, which is so great to have had Jacob and Candice join us on behalf of the veterinarycareers.com.au team. And so basically, I can't wait to see this facility. It just sounds amazing. 9 consult rooms and 3 surgeries and an extra surgery. And I'm a biosecurity vet as well, so I'm going to come and check out that quarantine area, isolation area. But yeah, it sounds like an amazing purpose-built facility. Wiley will have to teach me about the MRI and all of it, because apparently it's amazing, state of the art. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'll just pop Michelle's email up in the chat again if you'd like to directly email her or reach out to me on social media. So Emma Davis, veterinarian. I'm not sure why that's on the end of my name. If you'd like any further questions answered by these guys, and I can put you in touch with Michelle and the team at Animal Referral Hospital in Canberra.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
No worries.
Thank you.
We will also, if there's questions that come through for you guys, we'll send them through on the email. But thank you so much for your time. That's amazing.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So everyone, I want you to love your veterinary careers, and we look forward to the next interview, the boss. Thank you. Okay. Stop recording.